Hey guys, Lisa here. Thanks for joining this morning. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late, but you know the real world exists outside of what we do here. So thank you guys for tuning in today. We talked about last week. We talked about the first step of social media of improving your social media, and this week is step number two. And step number two, I think, is really important because as much as we want you to not sell and we want you to tell the story, we also want you to be authentic and be a good representation of yourself or of your business. And what I mean by that is remember you're talking to people. You're not talking to things. You're not talking to something inanimate. It feels like it because you're in front of a camera and there's not another person on the other side there that you can see. But right now, people are watching what I'm doing right now because I can see that people are tuning in. So my advice to you is to be yourself, be authentic. There are two reasons why that is so important and so crucial. Reason number one is that I think we may have even talked about this a little bit last week. There are a million realtors, there are a million plumbers, there are a million doctors, there are a million of every industry out there, of everything that you can do out there. And there's a lot of noise. And I think it's really important for people to make that connection with you. How many times do you guys, how many times have you changed banks and it's not, I mean, all banks have the same services, all banks have the same products by and large. But if you find a banker, you follow the banker from bank to bank. You don't necessarily stay at the bank when your banker leaves because you form that connection, you've created that relationship. Being authentic, being yourself online and on your social media allows people to get a little bit of a feel, a little bit of a taste of who you are, and it starts to form that relationship. And I think, people say to me, well, what if they don't like me? Well, that's fine if they don't like you because you want to do business with people who connect with you, who like with you, that your message resonates with, that your personality connects with, that they get you, right? So let them find out they don't like you right away, as opposed to maybe doing some more, checking on you or even uh, having a meeting with you. And then you find out that you don't click. Why don't you do it online? So that's reason number one is let them get to know you. Reason number two is again, people want to know who you are. There's so much that noise out there. And I think when I meet someone and they're one way digitally, and then I meet them offline and they're a totally different person, it's almost like, how when you date, you see the profile picture of someone and they look really great. And you're like, oh my God, that guy or that girl looks really hot. And then you see them offline and they don't look like that at all. When you meet them in person, it's a big letdown and you're disappointed and sometimes you're even pissed off, right? This is much the same thing. Get to know someone, let them get to know you, present yourself realistically, present yourself in a true fashion, be authentic, be who you are. People might like you because you're crazy, or they might like you because you're the girl who wears the baseball hat, or they might like you because you're the guy with the dogs, or they might like you because you're the guy who has a southern accent, or whatever the case may be. But you want to give them that hook, that thing about you that makes you stand out, that distinguishes you from someone else. And I realize it's taken me a little bit of time to get to this point, but that is the reason to be authentic with people. Not to mention the fact that people will connect with you more because they know you're being authentic. I think people can really see between the lines and they can tell if you're being authentic or if you're putting on some kind of false personality or false persona. I think for me, I have found that when I interact with people authentically on Facebook or on digital media of any kind, I get a lot more responses, a lot more connections, a lot more people find me to be more approachable, more relatable. So I think that's really, really important for you to do. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. I will have this on all of my platforms, just like we did last week. Next week, we will be back here on Monday for tip number 3. So remember, tip number 1 was don't sell, tell. And tip number 2 is be authentic, be real. We'll see you next week for tip number 3. Then we've got 2 more weeks after that. And remember, post your questions in here, because if I can answer them for you, I absolutely am happy to do that. But post your questions in here. If you have some other questions that might be appropriate for somewhere down the line, let me know. I'm happy to have a conversation with you right here. All right. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week. Take care.